Today I want to demonstrate an app that I found on the App Store that was free, which is fantastic. As teachers, it's great to find apps that are free, and it's called SoundUncovered. If we look on the beginning screen here, made by Exploratorium. They actually have two apps that are free that you can use similar to this. This one deals with sound, the other deals with color and light. And so when you're studying those kinds of units, I'd say in upper elementary, definitely junior high, ninth grade would be great. I think even juniors and seniors in physics class would probably enjoy looking at the things in these free apps. Now, speaking of free, I tried to find screen capturing software for the iPad for free and no such luck on that. So I'm going to do the video this way and try to emphasize. I'll try to hold this up close so we can see what's going on here. Table of contents, there are a ton of different exercises that the students can do here. And in our time constraints, I can't show all of them, but I'll show you a few and show how these can be teachable moments with students. The first one that you come to is called Find the Highest Note. And so if the students are working in groups at my school, I have an iPad in the classroom always, but we also have iPads available in the office that can be checked out. So I could have this app downloaded on those iPads, and students could be broken into groups and work on this when we're talking about sound. So with this first one, it says you just need to touch each of the keys and then kind of figure out which key plays the highest note. Sounds simple. So let's try it. Now, when you listen to that, it sounds like each time the sound continues to get higher. Even though the pitch isn't changing, it's always playing the same thing on each note. And so it'd be cool for the students to take and maybe write down a prediction as to why that's doing what it's doing. And then they get to click down here and they actually find out why. And so they can see if they've successfully guessed what makes the pitch of that sound the way it does. And so it explains to the students here that each of those notes, those keys, when you touch them, are actually playing 6 notes that are all an octave apart. So it's illustrating, one of them is playing 6 C's. So if you touch here, it kind of shows them on a keyboard how it's doing that. And our brains, of course, are interpreting that as the pitch increasing each time, even though it is not. So it's somewhat of an audible illusion, not an optical illusion, but an audible illusion. I guess we could call it that. Now there's several more. I'm going to skip past some here. Some of them take a little longer, but there's some really neat ones. This one I think would be super fun for the students as well. They could each record the frequency that they're able to hear. But if you notice, it says, how old are your ears? And so what they're going to do with this one, when we touch try this, you're going to drag the slider down until you can hear the sound. And so each student could do it. And when you're able to hear the sound, then it's going to let you know how old your ears are in essence. When we learn about sound, we talk about the fact that as we age, our ability to hear higher pitches begins to dissipate. We begin to lose that sense of higher pitch hearing. And so when we work down, when you get here, can you hear that heinous sound? And then, the students can keep moving it. Oh, kind of not lovely. But as soon as they're unable to hear it, then they could touch here and kind of reveal their age. Now, for most students, it's seeing 18 or younger. I can't hear a thing up there at the top if you look where it says 18 and younger. But, when you get down here, 60. Now, it's not a perfect test, but if we click here again, it gives an explanation, a chart that kind of shows how our ability to differentiate certain frequencies of sound, how that changes over time. But really awesome and a lot of fun. I think it'd be fun for the students to look at that. This one's kind of interesting. I think the students would have fun with this too. But this one, they're able to actually record statements, and they're specifically initially looking at palindromes, those words that are spelled the same forwards and backwards. And so the thought process is, if it's a palindrome and it's spelled the same forwards and backwards, does it sound the same forwards and backwards? And so they list a couple palindromes that you can do. For instance, Madam, I'm Adam. So the student would touch record. Madam, I'm Adam. They'd stop. It's recording. It's processing. Madam, I'm Adam. And I'm able to hear my recording, and then I'm able to do it backwards. So it sounds pretty crazy. So palindromes don't necessarily work in that way, but they also share ones that do work in that way. And so if you record them forward and backwards, they're pretty neat. Now my time's kind of up, but I'd encourage you, my goodness, or if anybody, I mean, I think my kids are going to love to play with this. It's a great app. Again, it's called, let me leaf all the way back, but it's called Sound Unexplored by Exploratorium, and it's free.